All right, gang, welcome to Hansens Speed Shop. Today we're going to be starting another project. We're going to be building an old Briggs 5-horse Raptor flathead engine for a Sunday mini bike project. If you guys watch the channel, you know that I like old mini bikes along with a lot of other old stuff. But I recently picked up another old mini bike at a swap meet, and it had a Briggs, old Briggs flathead, like 4 or 5-horse engine in it, and kind of fell in love with the old Briggs and Stratton engines. Like the first engine that I ever tore apart and rebuilt was one of those old horizontal shaft flathead engines. So I've always kind of had a soft spot for those as far as small engines go. And I like flatheads just in general. I've got old flathead Harley. I like flathead Fords, and I like little small engine flatheads too. So I'm going to show you what we've got to work with, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, guys, so here's the block I picked up. This is, I believe, a Raptor 3 block. And the really cool thing about these is it's a double roller bearing engine. So if you can see back here, the crank bearing in the block has got roller bearings in it. And then the side cover, I'll show you in just a second, has got another roller bearing in it. So these motors were built to really be able to handle running at a high RPM. The cylinder in it looks pretty good. There's no scarring or scoring or anything, no cracks. We might just kind of give this a quick hone job. And this thing is kind of like a virgin block. It's never been touched as far as any kind of modifying. So we're probably going to do a valve relief in here, and then it's never been ported or polished or anything. So we'll go in here and clean these up a bit. Our crank looks good. It's got our stock flywheel on here. Everything looks really nice shape. We'll set this over here for a second. Let's see, what else do I got? I got a couple, came with 2 heads. So this is a stock head. As you can see, it's just a stock head. Another header. I'm not sure if we're going to use this one or not. Here's our side cover. I'll show you that in a little bit. Head bolts and side cover bolts. So here's what I was talking about on the side cover. So, you know, this is how it'll look on the outside of the engine. But it's got a roller bearing on the inside. This is kind of similar to like on the modern overhead valve style engines, like on the Honda clone engines, like a Predator or something. They've got this roller bearing setup. So this thing will be able to handle 9,000 RPMs. No problem, especially because I've also got a arc billet rod for it. I'll show you in a second with a race piston on it. So this thing really should be a strong little engine. Probably gonna make not a ton of power, maybe 7-8 horsepower, but that's still pretty good for an old flathead. All right, so I got some full gasket set, gas tank with a modified Briggs Raptor carb. Here is I'll unwrap this later, but here's a rod and piston. And then here's the head that I'm probably going to try to use. It came with this head that's been milled down. As you can see, it doesn't have this ridge here anymore. So this thing will bump up the compression ratio a little bit. I still need to get a couple more things, like find a cam and like valve springs, lifters, and a few other little parts, but really not too much stuff. They don't really make a lot of stuff for these old engines anymore, so you got to kind of hunt down stuff, but I'm used to that. So this could be a fun little project. Probably gonna maybe polish the head and the side cover, and then we'll paint the block something. I'm not sure yet. But we'll just make a cool little hot rod Briggs here on the channel. So it should be pretty cool. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so here's a look at our block. I started cleaning it up and I got all the old gasket material off of here. Started cleaning up our valve seats. If we look inside of here, the idea is just going to be to kind of, there's like some casting lines in the intake and the exhaust. You can see in there all those ridges and stuff. That's what we're going to get cleaned up. We're not going to go overboard on the porting, just kind of a cleanup. We'll polish this exhaust up really nice, and we'll kind of leave the intake side a little bit rough. And then on the inside of the case, there's like some little casting ridges right here and some other little ones that we'll just clean up just for better oil flow. But otherwise, other than that, the only thing that I have in store is just to get the case itself cleaned up, and then once I get all the work done on it, we'll give this thing a new paint job. Alright guys, so I've been getting to work on this block here. I started porting out our intake here. That's starting to look pretty good. It's a little bit more work to do on there. Like I said, I'm not going to go super crazy, just going to kind of clean up some of the sharp edges and stuff. And I'm just using a Dremel, and then when you do your intake ports, you want to leave them a little bit rough so that the fuel doesn't fall out of suspension. The exhaust, that's coming along pretty nice too. I'm trying to get this a little bit more polished on the exhaust side. And then we're going to shave this eyebrow down. So what you want to do on here is this peak in the middle, we kind of want to leave that, but we'll trace out where our gasket goes, and then basically in this area on both sides we're going to just kind of shave that down for a clear shot right to the piston. I honed the cylinder out, so we got a nice cross hatch on that, so that'll be good to go. And then inside the block, just where there was some kind of rough casting lines and stuff, I've been kind of cleaning that up, along with just kind of different areas on the outside of the block, like on the cylinder fins here and stuff. Just kind of cleaning areas up, like right in here and stuff, just trying to make it as nice as possible. So basically all that I have left is to we're going to shave the eyebrows down, just finish cleaning this up a little bit, and then I'll clean the whole thing up, and this thing should be ready to get painted and start putting it back together. We're also going to have to lap our new valves once I get those. So, but she's starting to come along. So I pretty much got all the work done on the porting and polishing and the relieving, and it came out looking really good. I'm super happy with it. Taking a look in the exhaust, really nice. Got it polished up pretty good in the exhaust, got it opened up nice. We left that all kind of rough. And then here's how the relieving turned out. We just kind of shaved down this eyebrow area here and left the center peak, so we have a nice clear shot right to the piston. And then I kind of polished the exhaust side, left the intake side a little bit more rough. That came out looking really good. Super happy with that. So all we got really left to do on the block now, once I get some valves, we'll lap those in. And then just kind of finish cleaning up the block, and then this thing will be ready for paint. So I think on this video, the last thing that we're going to do is get them valves in here, and then that'll be kind of the last thing that we're going to do on this part before we move on to anything else. So we'll see you once we get some valves in here. Guys, just one quick little side note: if you are building not just one of these old Briggs engines, but any kind of engine, really doing this porting and polishing on your heads, or in this case on the block, is really going to make a lot of difference. And it's basically free horsepower. All it's going to cost you is your time and energy to do the actual work. You don't want to go too crazy. We're building this one as not a full-blown race, more of a mild Raptor. I mean, I'm looking to get maybe like 7 to 8 horsepower out of this thing, which will be pretty good. I want to, the cam we're going with is going to be a fairly mild cam, something that's going to run in the 6,000 RPM range, but we are going to keep the stock cast iron flywheel on it, so we don't want to push it any more than that anyway. So when you do this, you don't want to go too big and make your ports too large, because that's going to really affect your bottom end and mid range. If you go really big, it'll obviously help on your top end, but it's going to kill everything else down low. But on something like this, you could probably pick up a half a horsepower to a horsepower, which is actually quite a bit when you're talking about something that's really not making that much power in general. So definitely something worthwhile to do on really any engine, but especially on one of these little small engines where it's kind of difficult to make power because there's not a lot that you can do. But this is one easy, cheap way to pick up some good power. All right, gang, so unfortunately we're gonna have to wrap this video up. It's probably getting a little bit long now, and I am, due to all this stuff that's going on lately, it's really hard to get parts. So a lot of the parts that I've ordered to do this motor, not a lot, but just some handful of things that you really need, like the lifters I need, and the valves, and a couple other little things are on back order. So I can't really go too much forward until I get my parts. Also, the cam that I have on it, we'll probably go with that, but I would really like to find an old Dyno Cams 94 SS. If I don't, we'll run the one that I got, but so I'm still kind of waiting on that also. I guess the next video, maybe we'll look at polishing the head and the side cover. But otherwise, guys, I hope you dug this. If you got any questions, comment below. Until next time, get out working on your own projects, get those hands dirty and greasy, stay cool, and we'll catch you cats on the next one. Thanks for watching.